Hi, I'm Jeff Murrah, and I want to welcome you to Healthy Marriage Tips, where today I'll be talking about trauma bonds and diagrams. And by diagrams, what happens many times is that we are blind to the power and the influence of trauma bonds in our lives. You know, they're at work and we suspect that they're there, but we really don't have a clear understanding of them. And today I'll be talking about that and some ways to go ahead and gain a clearer understanding of it. Now, with diagramming, what you do, you take an incident that happened that involved the trauma bond, and it may end up being, a relapse into drinking, drugging, sex, who knows what, an affair. But you work your way, you literally construct a timeline and start working your way backwards. And one of the ones that I've talked about in the past is, an example where a young woman goes ahead and maps out or diagrams out what happened. First thing she did, she went out of town for work. Okay. Then she felt sorry for herself and started drinking. And she was kind of bored. Then she stayed in the bar until closing time and started flirting with people. And then she ended up having a one-night stand. Okay. So when you look at that, what one decision changed everything? Well, one of the things that you find is that it was actually a series of choices that led up to it. And many times the trauma bonds are at work, subtly influencing our choices, kind of pushing in one direction or the other. And when you diagram these out, you can see where the decisions were made. And then you can start understanding how they came about, in those negative messages with him, I'm no good, I'll never amount to anything, stuff like that go back to those trauma incidents and the trauma bonds. So besides the strongholds, which I talked about the other day, diagramming is another very powerful tool to be able to understand how they work in your life. And when you see them, you can start pulling them out by the roots, so to speak. And this is one of those. So I wanted to go ahead and go over this with you. Hope that you enjoyed it and found it helpful. Feel free to leave your questions below if you need more details on it. Because diagramming is a very useful tool, and the more you do it, the better you'll become at using that to identify some of the root issues or the main part that's with it. And like, for instance, in the example that I gave you, the person might have obsessive thoughts, avoid people, drinks too much, cuts self off, or cuts herself. And you'll take those symptoms and start finding replacements. Like, instead of the obsessive thoughts about how bad she is, start expressing gratitude. Instead of avoiding people, try to talk to them and see if she can identify what their own needs are, picking up on positive and negative things so that she's not blindsided by bad people in her life. Instead of drinking too much, go to places where you can dance rather than you drink, or go to places where you can listen to music rather than having the emphasis on drinking. Things like that. And when you combine this symptom replacement with the diagramming, it can help you a lot. So hope this helps. And until next time, this is Jeff Murrah wishing you best regards. Talk to you later. Goodbye.